everybody. Sean Hamel here with another episode of the Origins podcast. And today I have a good friend of mine, and unfortunately a San Diego Chargers fan, Denise Williams-Jones, on the podcast with me, founder of Next Level to Success, public speaker, author, consultant, life enthusiast. For sure, you're always an absolute ray of sunshine. Thank you so much for doing this show. And I'm glad we finally got around to doing it, because I know we even talked about it at SCN like a year ago that we needed to do this. So I'm really, really glad that you made it.
Yes, thank you for having me. We have talked about it. And LA Chargers forever. You know?
Oh, that's right. It's not San Diego anymore. I forget. Right. I just know you guys are always in last place. That's all I know.
You know what it is? We get like that. You know that saying, like, close but no cigar? That's us.
Yes.
But one day we're going to get that cigar. And when that happens, I think I'm going to paint my face, go all out, and everyone that has mocked the Chargers, you're going to have to recognize. It's going to happen. I'm patient.
I love the positivity. Zig Ziglar would be proud of you. But I mean, Mahomes is not going anywhere for a long time. So it's going to be a long road, but I hope so too. I think it'd be great.
I know. Herbert's pretty good though. We gotta get the right coaching, and we gotta work some kinks out. So
you got to get the Chiefs out of your division. We're getting tired of winning it. Honestly, it's been 30 years in a row. So I don't know. They had to add on to the stadium to make room for all the new trophies. I don't know if you knew that, but they had a wing. They had to add a wing to the stadium.
That's what's gonna make it so great when my Chargers finally win, because everyone's gonna go, what? And the first person they're gonna think of is, you remember Denise, who was a ride or die? That. And then
you definitely are. You definitely are ride or die.
I am. So.
Well, my friend, I am so glad that you're here. We met, like I'd kind of led with, we met through the SCN network, which is a great group of people. And yeah, we just always have kept in touch. And I know, full disclosure, I had a major fail with Denise, and luckily she still talks to me, where I bit off a lot more than I could chew. And unfortunately, she wasn't able to get the full Sean Hamel experience with her marketing, because I didn't do a good job of follow-up and stuff. And I mean, it is, you celebrate your wins, you're honest about your losses. I just bit off more than I can chew, but it was a good season because it taught me a lot about, even if you have the intent to really help somebody and do something positive, sometimes you can still do things that are negative. And so appreciate your grace with that. But you and I have talked a lot. I mean, we've spent a lot of time just talking about life and talking about what you've been through in your road. And that's part of the reason, I mean, there are a lot of reasons I wanted you to be on the show, but that's part of the reason why I was really excited to have you on, because I know the road that got you to where you are has been windy, and it's been a lot of uphill. And I'm excited for you to share with people. And the goal, of Origins is just to let people know that you see the shiny, glimmery stuff on social media and all that stuff, but a lot of the people that you look up to and listen to had a really rough road getting to where they are. And so if you're experiencing a rough road, it's okay. It's totally normal. It's part of the process. And that was kind of the genesis behind Origins, was telling the stories of some of the bigger names in dentistry like you, of how you got to where you are with the struggles and all of that stuff. So give us a little bit of insight. I know Next Level to Success has definitely been a passion project, but I know it probably wasn't, at least based on what I know about you, it probably, when you initially started out, it wasn't on your radar as being kind of the end result.
Well, thank you for having me. And thank you for saying those nice things about me. And our fail is our whatever. It is what it is. I don't call it a fail. It's whatever.
It was a fail. It was a fail.
Whatever. We're good. I love you, man. So when I first wanted to do this, I didn't even know initially that this is the direction I was going to go in. I worked in a dental office. I was really lucky enough to work for a pediatric dentist for almost 17 years who had it dialed in. I mean, he was ahead of the game. And this was, right when I was going to dental assisting school, registered dental assistant. I've kept it all these years since 1995. I'm dating myself, right? So when I was in dental assistant school, they said, there's an office that's looking for some interns. And, we had to put our hours in. And it's a tough office, my teacher said to me. And I'd only send a few of you. She sent 3 of us. and I was the one that lasted. The other two were out of there in like 2 weeks. They're like, this
They
is
gone.
too
They gone.
hard.
They gone.
This doctor, Dr. Snare, it was Dr. Snare Sr., and then his son, Dr. Kevin Snare, and then the other brother did the adult. And they were in Arcadia in California, which is like 10 minutes from Pasadena. So I got in this office, and man, were they structured. Little did I know that my time there was setting the tone for what I'm doing now. I'd never come across in all these years an office that was that structured. It reminded me of growing up. My parents were very structured. So I have 11 brothers and sisters. It's a lot, right? So
That's impressive.
we had systems at home. Everything was a system. Little did I know at the time it was a system. I just thought that was the way you grow up,
Sure.
that was just the way our household was run. So mom and dad really locked in how to do everything. We learned at a very young age how to cook, how to do laundry, how to, and we're now doing that with my niece is 5, and I taught her, my sister and I are teaching her how to make quesadillas. That's something, I didn't
Nothing
feel
wrong
good
with it.
about it.
Nothing wrong
Yeah.
with it.
And so, these structures that my parents put into place at a very young age, we were also in a religion that was extremely structured. So from birth, I've been groomed in structure. So when I went to work for this office, and they were so structured, I thrived. Most people would say it was very hard to get a team there that could thrive because you had to be cut from a certain cloth. But it was like, I'm home. And so I became the doctor's right hand man. I was in charge of training our assistants. We had 6 chairs. We had 4 up front. We had 8 or 9 RDAs. We had a couple that were expanded functions. This is back in like 96, 97. They were doing 3.5 million back then. They were structured. They were
Not too bad. Not too shabby.
back then. That was the pediatric side, and the adult side was doing something else. So that doctor really took me under his wing, and I thrived because it reminded me a lot of, like I said, the structure I had from childhood. So with that being said, I didn't realize that was my introduction with creating systems in dentistry.
Mm-hmm.
Then years later, I went to so I was chairside for maybe 14 of those years. And I was also a fitness instructor, and I was teaching, I was teaching like 6 classes a week and working 40 hours. I was just pushing it. I was like pushing it. And
That never came up. I didn't know that about you. That's awesome.
yeah. And I taught the hard stuff. I taught cardio kickboxing, boot camp. I taught rhythm movements, Zumba. I taught muscle work, step. I was in it, right? And
So she knows how to fight. I need to watch what I say about the Chargers.
I remember
I got to watch what I say.
yeah. I would get this. I had this one DJ that would make these like custom hits. So it would be hits. So like you'd come in my class. It got to the point where, because I taught for LA Fitness, 24-hour and a couple of private gyms. And then I'd have people where I could only have 50. So they would line up and get a ticket and then to go to the class. So I was pushing it, but I was overdoing it, and I burnt out, and I had a very bad injury. So when I had that injury, I had to either stop assisting or stop training. And of course I needed assisting. That was my bread and butter and my love. So I stopped being a fitness instructor. And at that time, the decision was made that I would go to front desk at the office part of the time. So then I didn't do so much chair side. I did training of all the girls, created an ordering system, implemented that. Doctor and I created a lot of stuff that I now use for my business. So then a few years later, I went over to a different office, and it was all front office admin. And I was there 11, 12 years. And that gave me a different perspective. First, I'm like, no, I love chairside and I love the kids. I got all the kids, the difficult kids. I was like, give them to me. I got it. But then I went to an adult office. And when I went to that office, they had never even hit 1 million. And
Mm.
mind you, I had been in an office that at this point was now doing like 5, 6 million. So I came to this office with a whole different perspective and said, let me start implementing. Now, the difference in this office, the second one, is that doctor was obsessed with conferences and consultants and systems and programs. In fact, we had program after program after program that were doing the same thing. And we're like, doctor, we have Weave, Dental Intel, Solution Reach, and we had everything you could. So, and we would go to a dental conference every other month, and we had every consultant out there. And so now I go from growing up with this structure of family, being in a religion that was extremely structured, going to an office where the doctor was, if you could work there, the word is you could work anywhere. For 17 years, being the right hand man, now to this office that was obsessed with learning and education. So it was the perfect mix of what is now next level to success. So when people say, like, where's your start? I attribute all of those things. I attribute a
How
little.
how did you find your way in dental? Like, was dental always an interest of yours?
No, I actually went through a very traumatic time in my life. When I left the organization, at a certain point, I got to a point, I had a very dear friend that we were missionaries. With the organization I was in, we would go door to door. And so from a very young age, my parents would put the responsibility on us, like, you're representing the Williams family. So they made sure that we learned and we taught, and I grasped it. So from 5 years old, I'd be knocking on the door like, hi, and talking to people. And I took to it. You never knew who was on the other side of the door. So you learn to be adaptable, which is now why you can put me in a room, give me 5 minutes, and I will adapt. I think that's one of my superpowers. So because of that, I didn't realize growing up, I was getting trained for speaking and consulting. I also, at a very young age, 12, 13 years old, I was having Bible studies with grown adults and then bringing them into the religion, and they were getting baptized. I was like a missionary and I was out going, doing all this work. And I was from the age of like 15 to 23, whatever I was doing secularly or school or whatever, I also was doing 90 hours a month door to door. So with all of that,
That's where you get your steps in for sure.
yeah, and then I would speak at the platform, and they had a part where the women would do a certain part. There were so many, it would come around your turn maybe every 6 or 7 months, and I would tell all the ladies in the organization, if you don't want to speak, I'll do it. So every week for like 3 or 4 years, I prepared that week's lesson at a young, I'm talking 15, 16 years old. I prepared every week with the hopes of being able to speak. So several times, some of the ladies would call and say, I just don't feel like doing it. I'm like, I got you, or I'm sick. So I was on the platform speaking. So now moving forward, at one point, I realized that that wasn't for me. A lot of respect for it. I still have family members that are involved. But when I left that, and I left a bad marriage, my first marriage. It was devastating, and I almost ended up homeless because I found myself a 26-year-old Black woman with a 12th grade education and no skill set, except I didn't realize I had the best skill set. I didn't realize it. Because at that time when we were in the religion, we were not allowed to pursue higher education. So my higher education was Bible study and Bible school, which we had to read the whole Bible and study it, and it's probably harder than a lot of other things. So my family was very locked in, and I was trained like you would not believe, not realizing I was being trained.
Mm-hmm.
So here I am. I left a marriage, I left the religion, and at that time I didn't have any support. I didn't work back then, and I almost ended up homeless. And that was a very tough time. And so I had to figure life out with the help of a therapist. And I didn't have my family at the time as I was the first to leave. Um, and so my therapist helped me find the cheapest, fastest thing I could do at a community college that could get me working. So I said, dental assisting sounds cool. Little did I know my journey, it was all set.
Hmm.
So I go in and I do that, and then that's how I ended up in that office. Now, fast forwarding when I worked front office for the second office, and we're going to all these conferences, and I'm meeting all these people. A lot of the relationships I have with people in the organization now, or I mean, in our industry, I met when I was a team member. So I met all these people as a team member, or if they were coaching the office I worked for, and I would grab onto it. I was one of the few in the office. So I developed strong relationships with all these dental people because doctor would hire them, or say we had a training, all the trainings, care credit, I did it, solution reach, I did it, weave, I did it, dental intel, I did. I was the person. So I started knowing people. Um, then we would work with some consultants that were amazing. Then we worked with some that were awful. As a team member, I felt that there was a lack of team members training team members that didn't stick to well, this is what's on the paper. It looks great. Like, let's get real. Yeah,
Hmm.
that looks good on paper, but let's just be real. It doesn't always happen that way. So I pride myself on being authentic and real in that way. Like, I'm not going to tell a doctor what they want to know. It's like, doctor, you're wrong on this. Our team, you're wrong on this. Let's get together. That looks good on paper, but that's not how it works. So early on, I reached out and I sent about 10 emails to people that I had met as a team member and said, hi, I'd like to get started in the dental industry as a coach, a speaker, and a consultant. And if I'm looking for mentors, and if any of you would help, if any of you even had one thing to give me or would be interested in showing me the way, I would greatly appreciate it. Um,
Yeah, and it's amazing too, and I think more dentists maybe don't realize the amount of people that want to share knowledge and are honored by the request for mentorship, and it's almost
yeah,
like people are too self-conscious, or they talk themselves out of asking, or
yeah.
they don't want to be vulnerable. There are so many people in this industry. Same with me. I mean, I met a lot of people
Hmm.
never envisioning doing what I'm doing now. Just I helped a practice that was a friend of mine market, and it turned into a thing. But a
Hmm.
lot of the people I met too was just the not so glitzy
Right.
times in the hotel lobbies and asking
Right.
questions and
Right.
things. But there's
Yes.
an army of people that are willing and want to mentor,
Yes.
pass along their knowledge. All you have to do is ask for it. And how many people
Exactly.
say, yeah, nobody ever asks me. Like, nobody ever asked me to
Exactly.
do that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And we were heavily involved in Crown Council, and so
Hmm.
there was a wealth of knowledge there, not only from the founders, because one of the founders was my mentor for 2 years, Steve,
Hmm.
but not only
Who
from the founders.
watch Steve's episode of Origins too. It's in the history on the channel.
But not only that, but I started talking to all the vendors, Rusty, Blake, all these people that knew me. Hey, Denise, what's going on? I'm like, guess what? I want to be a consultant. And they were like so proud of me, like our little sis. And so thus became where I ended up reaching out to like 10 people. And I had maybe 4 or 5 that said, we'll help you. And so it started this training basically of I would, have phone calls with them or talk to them and say, how do I handle this, or how do I set this up? What if I want to do this? What does this look like? And then they just started helping me. And then from there, um, actually, I think Rusty introduced me to SCN, and then he took invited me as a guest, and I started joining other things, and I just started. So when I came into the light of people saying, oh, this is a new consultant. Yes, I was new in the sense of um, I was
In
new
the
in the
market.
sense of marketing,
Mm-hmm.
but in the sense of what I realize I've been trained for my whole life, I've been ready. I've been ready a long time ago. So I think that's why I don't live in fear. I'm not afraid of the answer no.
Mm-hmm.
People are like, I'm not afraid of failing. Um, I'm not afraid. Nothing is always a win. I'm not afraid of showing my vulnerable side. You won't always see me dressed up with makeup. You'll see me in a ponytail hiking. You'll see me in doing my gardening. You'll see my brand is very different because I want people to look at my Instagram, social media, website, whatever, and get a glimpse of who I am. Now, some people say you should only show your professional side, and I've had that aspect and done that. But if I'm truly being me and I'm truly being Denise and I'm truly trying to make a space of what I do different, I'm not going to lie about, yeah, this is my second marriage. I'm not going to lie about that. I'm not going to lie about saying I left a religion and almost ended up homeless. I'm not going to lie about saying I kind of go about things a little different. But that's the beauty of us being humans, is that there's a space for everybody. And I believe that many in our industry get caught up on this is the way to do it. And if you don't do it that way, you're not going to get there. And I don't believe that. I don't knock anyone who is that way. But my approach when I consult a team, when I speak, whether it's dental, outside of dental, is that I feel that as humans, we are starving for connection. I think that regardless of our gender, regardless of our political affiliation, regardless of our sex, our gender, I said, our race, our standing, financially, we all love, we all hurt, we all have loss, and we all are insecure about something. So I'm not looking like, oh, that's so-and-so, I'm not going to approach. I'm going to approach
Right.
regardless, and I'm going to try to help. And if I think I have something that is going to help someone, let's do it. And I'm not going to take a job or a speaking gig and not get up there and be real. I'm gonna tell my experiences. I'm going to share my fails as well as my wins. I'm going to, if I don't know, I'm not going to make an answer up. I will help the people that are there. I will give them my knowledge, and I won't be for everyone, and I'm okay with that.
I love it.
I don't want
I've
to be.
always I've always admired with that about you is the stepping into what makes you different, and because I'm very much that way too, and it's
Mhm,
always been awesome.
mhm.
Well, my friend, tell listeners, how do they get in touch with you? How do they learn more about what you're doing? How do they learn more about the business?
You can find me at nextleveltosuccess.net. You can email me, denisewj at nextleveltosuccess.net, um, and reach out. You can find me on all the social media, Instagram,
All the socials, all
on
the socials.
LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. I got to bring up my YouTube presence. I'm working on that. If you're in need, if you're a meeting planner, you're looking for someone to bring some California sunshine, here I am. If you're a doctor, you're looking for someone to help unify your team, you want a higher performing team and a more empowered team, here I am. If you're a team member, I'm your biggest cheerleader. And you know what? I'm
That's a
there.
fact. That's a fact.
Give me a call. We can have a free consultation, have a conversation. If it's a fit, great. If not, then we've made a connection.
Absolutely. Well, my friend, I'm really thankful for you coming on and talking about your journey. And I mean, I've heard the story offline, so appreciate you sharing it with folks. And you just continue to bless people and doing what you're doing. I'm proud of you too, just to see all the achievements you continually seem to check off. But thank you so much for being on, and hopefully I'll have you on here again for another episode.
Yay, I hope so. Bye, everybody.
Bye.